Hi, I'm Dr. Jim Beebe, and I'm here with Jim Ney.
Hi, guys.
As well as Susan Luongo, even though you've read something different on the, on the flyer.
I'm Denise Arrigo in disguise.
Well, that's right. And we're here as members of the class of 1970, and we're promoting our reunion, which will be the 55th year coming up this year, and it's going to be next month. And so we're going to talk a little bit about us in the past, and we're going to talk a little bit about the class reunion coming up. So I'll turn it over to Susan. She's the chairperson for our reunion committee and has done a great job. And I think we're going to have a fantastic time. Anybody, any classmate, come out, please. Go ahead, Susan.
Okay, so we did put this together in a fairly quick fashion. I had the help of Jim, Jim Ney, behind the scenes, I guess, by contacting people. And I had Bob Abbott, we had Patty Ramanujan, Wetstein, Louise Morris-Jones. Who am I forgetting? I know I'm forgetting somebody. Anyway,
Bob Abbott?
Bob Abbott and Steve Jones. Mm-hmm. So Steve came up from Maryland on our first meeting. So what we've put together is a more casual evening. In the past, we've had 2 nights, 2 days, a Friday and a Saturday. The first night, we usually had a casual night at the Thunderbolt Club, and then we would do something a little bit more, quote, formal. This year, we decided for the 55th that we wanted to do a very casual night at the Thunderbolt Club. The last reunion we called it 50+1 because of COVID. And we had a nice turnout on Friday night. So we're doing it again, but in a little bigger way. So we're having a nice assortment of foods, casual foods from Bolt Catering. We're doing a BYOB this year. So that means you can bring whatever you want to drink. We are providing music. We have a DJ. Steve Jones sort of spearheaded that along with Bob Abbott. And it's Bob Morgan from Vineland. He's going to be doing it. He does a great job. And then we are going to have a photo booth, which was a huge hit at our last reunion, and a class picture. So it's going to be, as I said, casual. And we're hoping that we sent out an invite to email addresses that we had on file. And we did not do a traditional mailing through the Postal Service this year because a lot of the addresses were so outdated, and also we just didn't have a list that we felt was updated enough to really reach the people. So we've turned to social media, and this is the way we communicate nowadays. So we posted on our website. It's the MHS Class of 1970 Reunion page. So if you're on Facebook, you can join the group. The information is there. As we see it on the screen right now, it's giving us the time and the date. The date is August 9th, and the time is 6 to 10, and it's at the Thunderbolt Club on, I believe it's 708 8th Street in Millville. And my information for RSV purposes, you can call me. The number is right in front of you, or you can email me at susan91@comcast.net. We are taking checks. It's $35 a person. You can pay through check or Venmo. You can contact me for the Venmo information because I'm not going to put that out there in public. So we're hoping we get a good response, putting this out there on a local station and through word of mouth. So if you see the show, please reach out to your classmates. In case you don't recognize me, my maiden name was Sayres. And, so there's a lot of people locally and a lot of people that don't live in the area anymore that know each other and could help us, recruit more people. Right now, I think I have close to 30 responses. So I think that's pretty good.
That's great.
We only posted this a week and a half ago.
That's great.
Yeah.
And Jim?
Yeah, we've been lucky over the years because we've had so many good people who've worked so hard, and we've had a reunion every 5 years. Last time it was 6 because of the COVID thing. Mm-hmm. But you go back to the days when, whether it's Colleen McCarson,
Colleen and Robin Raymond.
And Robin Raymond.
Mm-hmm. And Bobby.
And Bobby Beebe and so forth. From every 5 years, there's a reunion. There's so many classes that don't have that opportunity. So many Millville classes I've found out, let alone in other schools, are rare when they have a reunion every 5 years. So we have been lucky in that regard. It's always been nice. It's always been fun. I've often said I've had more fun at the reunions than I had in high school. And although, again, we had fun.
And that's hard to believe.
Yeah. So it's good in seeing people. And some people, when I think back, I mean, there are people who I haven't seen since June of '70. And others who I see only every 5 years or so. I mean, I can think of like Neil Robinson. I see Neil every 5 years. That's it. But he's probably in Millville. He still has his family down here and his brother and so forth. Other ones I see, Jim and I see each other regularly and so forth. But it's always just a fun time. And whether it's at the Thunderbolt Club, where we've had several first nights, or someplace else, the Savoy or wherever it happens to be, the last one at the Savoy, it's just a good time.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the biggest promoters of our reunion has been Steve Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Steve just loves, getting the classmates together, communicating, talking, reminiscing, telling old stories. And of course, Jim is limited to tell the ones about law enforcement. But anyway.
As is Steve. He's a Secret Service man.
Well, I didn't mean currently.
Oh, okay.
I mean in the high school years. But, it's just a fun time. And we really need your help because we put this together in such a short period of time that we want to get the word out so everybody has the opportunity to come. And that's the big thing. So if somebody from our class, if you're from the class of 70 or you know somebody from the class of 70, please tell them about the show. Please tell them about the reunion that's going to be here on August 9th. It's coming up in virtually a month.
Yeah, okay? Less than a month.
Yes, a little less than a month. So we would like to have as many classmates out there as possible. And whether you're out of town, in town, as Jim said, sometimes we see people on a regular basis. Sometimes it's very, very rare. But please come out. It'll be a casual night. We're going to enjoy each other's company. I think we'll enjoy seeing each other and telling some of those worthwhile memories that we all made, during our high school years.
Yeah, and I know, and we'll see it on the screen pretty soon, the in memoriam photos that we had at the last reunion, those who passed on. And since that time, we've lost a couple more classmates. Good buddy Jerry Gilbert passed on. Cliff Kane, who we see in the picture right here, died within the past few months. I mean, it just happens so quick. And now that we're into our early 70s, we'll say, it's, you just
we
never
still
know.
have a couple years for
so
early.
we got to try and get there. And also, there are so many people who help out, and I don't want to call it a little thing, but I see Bob there, Bob Abbott and Ricky, and they've always helped with the beverages and those kind of things.
Yes.
When we talk about behind the scenes. Just a lot of people actually get into it. And Jerry's right there in the front row as well. A unique character, Jerry.
Oh,
Jerry,
my goodness.
Yeah, so.
He's missed on this committee,
Yes.
but he's missed as a classmate, that's for sure. And Jerry passed last year.
Yeah.
Great guy, and he never. The thing I loved about Jerry, he never said no.
Right.
If you asked him, could he help? Last time there was labels, there was the snail mail thing. Can you do? Yes, he can do the labels. Yes, he can do this.
He did all those pictures that were on the in memoriam that Glenn and actually Glenn Ewan put the actual signage together with macrame and so Jerry did all the pictures and gave them to Glenn to put the sign together. And unfortunately, he's not around to do that this year. He was such a huge help when we put it together. We had lanyards, too, for IDs the last time with all of our senior pictures on. We don't have anybody quite as talented to do that this time, so we're probably going to have the regular little sticky IDs on. But it's sometimes it's fun not to put the ID on and let someone try and guess who you are.
And with those, with the attendance in the past, when I think of Jerry and the kids who came, as we always used to say, from down below, Marsh River Township, percentage-wise, might have had the highest percentage of kids of any like group. I mean, Norm Frankel usually comes, and Bruce Trout, and several others that come up. Your wife, you know, was poor Elizabeth Girl, and so forth. Those
Only if I let her come.
kids. Only if you let her come. we know who calls the shots in that family. But Jerry, just a quick Jerry Gilbert story. As Barry Fisher had told me this one time, and I'm not sure of the specifics, but it was in Bricksboro, and anybody from Marsh River Township, of course, knows where Bricksboro is. And Barry said the first time he met Jerry, Jerry was taking a clock apart. He was very, very, like, first of all, a very, very bright guy, but like mechanically oriented. He could do those kind of things you just didn't think about. And that's when they were in 7th grade or 8th grade, something like that. So, yeah, we hope to get a big turnout from all of our elementary schools, sending districts, you know, the St. Mary's kids, Lawrence Township and so forth, commercial township and whatnot.
Well, and to add to that, the photographer that we have, the group, we can do group pictures. That's something that was a big hit. Whoever was there from various school districts that were sending districts, they were very, flexible in taking pictures of the groups that you wanted together. And I know we've done that before. So, you know, we had a St. Mary's group, we had Culver School, Sensor School, you know, even Y clubs. So anybody that had been in a Y club during their high school years, whoever was there at that particular reunion, you know, we did some Y club pictures too. So it's a fun thing to be able to just say, hey, I was part of that group in high school, and here we are, 72, 73, some turning 74, and we're all together again and getting this great picture taken. And it's great to have a side-by-side. At some point, you can see where you were in 1970 and where you are today. So that is another opportunity to, I guess, bond. It's a bonding. We were bonding in high school with different groups. Some people might think today, oh, you know, they were cliques, and they were cliques. There's no question about it. People had the affinity to be with people that they felt comfortable or had something in common, whether it was sports, whether it was, I guess I can remember Future Homemakers of America, Future Nurses of America, all those clubs or organizations that were part of our high school years. And, you know, Y clubs were pretty popular at that point that I remember. So, you know, it's a great thing to have and just reconnect with people. If you talk about sending districts, we had a fairly decent turnout from the kids from Woodbine. And Woodbine no longer is a sending district, I think, to Millville. I think they now go to Middle Township or something. But in that, you know, in the case of the last reunion, Santos was there, Steve Erickson. I'm trying to remember a couple other people that were there from the Woodbine area. And so, again, as Jim keep saying, it's people that you don't always see. And there are people that you've known. Like I've known Jim Nay since 1st grade. And I've known Steve Jones since 1st grade. And you come back and you think, oh my God, I can't believe I've known these people for 60, almost, no, actually 70 years, because in most cases we were 6 years old when we, 69 years old, we were 6 years old when we started school. So that's what I find amazing.
With Steve, with S, as everybody knows him as S.
You know, he was always Stephen Jones to me.
With a PH. With he at our 45th, and if he sees this, he'll remember it clearly. He made a commitment to himself, and he told me about it. He said, "I'm going to get out of my comfort zone tonight." Okay, and he actually went around. He may not have made every table. But again, a lot of us, we didn't know each other in high school that well. We might have known names or whatever, and let alone, 45 years later at our 45th reunion, he went to each table, okay, and wasn't embarrassed, wasn't whatever. He just basically wanted to make sure he got to each table to see, to talk to each person, find out who they are and so forth, and it was kind of a fun thing. But he's always been a big proponent of the high school reunion, our reunions and so forth, so he's good.
He might have moved away. But he's still a Millville guy at heart, and his stories and his remembrances amaze me. We had an eighth grade reunion for 50 years out of St. Mary's back in 2016, and the amount of, I guess, his scrapbook that he had that was filled with things from our elementary school years. I mean, he had pictures. He had, he had a picture of me in 8th grade, and then I had to remind me that I was vice president of our 8th grade class, and Jim Ney was president, and I had no memory of that whatsoever, because I guess we didn't really have much of an impact on any policy in St. Mary's. But but it's not just Steve. Everybody has a story, and I think that's the best thing about coming to a class reunion. And I don't want to make this sound like a negative, but people that you knew in high school. And when you hear their story of where they've been for the last 60 years, 55 years actually from high school, it's amazing to say, well, I would have never thought that this person, is where they are today, whether it's achievement or whether it's, how they've helped other people in their career, whether it's medical, whether it's any kind of career that they had. And it's good to hear those stories and be amazed, and just be amazed, and be amazed by people who, had a lot of challenges and are still here and coming to the reunion. And it gives them a lift. It gives everyone a lift. So
we want you to, contact as many people from our class that ask them to contact friends of theirs. Reach out. I'm not a social media kind of guy. I'm not on Facebook, but through Mr. Quinn here at the station, he's helping us out. We want to get the word out. We want as many people to come out. As you saw on that memorial board, unfortunately, that grows each and every year, and we would like to have everybody who can make it out and enjoy it, whether you come from far or you're right in town.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of coming from far, I should mention what Betty DeCinque Geisling was able to do, and that was to negotiate with, you got to remind me which hotel it was, Fairfield?
Fairfield.
Fairfield Inn.
Fairfield Inn.
She negotiated a discount for any classmate that wanted to be here for and needed out-of-town classmate that needed a place to stay if they don't have family here that they'd be staying with. So if you call Fairfield Inn, you will definitely be able to get the discount. I think it's for a 2-night stay, might be Friday or Saturday. And what we're trying to plan on a Friday night, this is really Betty's forte, we're trying to figure out a place to let everyone know if they want to gather at a particular place. We're not sure where it's going to be yet, but we'll announce it. Another, just if you want to come see anybody that's in town and shows up there, that's another extra time to reminisce and be ready for the next night when there might be more people you're going to reminisce.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back because Jim Ney's got some exciting stories about classmates. Thank you.
Many people treat their health like a game. With Complete Care Health Network, it's easy to start your healthcare journey. Just select from our specialties and schedule online, by phone, or on our app. Our entire team communicates with one another, so everyone works together on your total health. Plus, we make it even easier with all of these additional benefits. Level up your health with us. Complete Care Health Network. No games, just great health care for everyone.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born right here in America. With more than 41 years of service to our valued customers, Advanced Treads in Norman, New Jersey is South Jersey's full-service distributor of General Tires. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tires, anywhere is possible. Advanced Treads, 1325 West Landis Avenue in Norman, New Jersey. Call them today at 856-696-5004.
Imagine living without pain. For over 35 years, Doctors Beebe and Doyle have helped thousands of people find relief from all types of pain. Millville Chiropractic Center has 4 doctors on staff specializing in hands-on or light-touch, drug-free pain relief methods. The examination, x-rays, therapies, and adjustments are all performed at one location. Schedule a consultation today. Enjoy life without pain and discomfort. Millville Chiropractic Center, the area's #1 pain relief center.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
Hi, welcome back. I'm Dr. Jim Beebe, and I'm here with Jim Ney and also Susan Luongo, even though you'll have the right name now, we know, on the poster. And we're here to talk about our reunion. 55 years. Seems like quite a long time, and we want everybody, all our classmates, please be aware of this and spread the word. And come on out. We're just going to have a nice time, and it's going to be at the Thunderbolt Club, so it's a great day to be a Bolt, as they say. We're all Bolts and graduates from 1970, so we want to come on out. It's going to be a casual night, have some great food. We're going to have a picture booth. We're going to have a group picture, which will help all of us, I think, and by that time we'll know each other's names again. So, but at my age, I may forget it before the picture's taken. So I just want to, tell you more about our reunion with the help of Jim.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think like 1970. When Jim asked me to come over today, I'm thinking 1970. And I guess maybe every old person says this, but it seemed like that was a real turning point in a lot of ways, socially, internationally, nationally. I mean, the Vietnam thing, but even on a local level, I'm thinking today just looking at the yearbook, we hear so much about the 60s, but it was that early 70s era where things started to change, and something as simple as hair. If we look at our yearbook, I mean, everybody's almost like crew cut type thing. And then a couple years later, and as we get into 72, 73, 74, it's long hair. The things like the dress code in the high school that we had at one time. I mean, we were, and I don't know if anybody really remembers, but we weren't allowed to wear sneaks in school. I mean, you could wear them in gym class, but that was it. You had to wear shoes. Nobody really argued with what a shoe was. You just did it. And
also, the girls couldn't wear pants until I think we were seniors.
Yeah.
Pants, not jeans. It was pants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So those kind of things. And then the town, I mean, everything changes. I know it's not just Millville. All communities change. But I can remember in the early, it might have been, I think it was like our freshman year, or 8th grade, maybe freshman, 9th grade, the mom and pop stores around town that Millville had. I mean, out near the high school on Vine Street, there was a 7-Eleven in high school, but before that, it was a store owned by Ed Fiend's dad. That was your neighborhood out there. And that
was 9th and Pine.
9th and Pine, there we go. And you were 8th and Mulberry. There you go.
And Vicki Curlis's dad had Dave's Market on 6th and Vine.
6th and
Oh, yeah. See, I'd forgotten about that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of those things that are no more, and really started phasing out in the 70s after we got out of school. I guess we changed everything.
It was the
in
mall.
that regard. Yeah, the mall comes along. Downtown Millville changes, and so forth. And I think back to those when I think of high school. And again, we all say, the good old days. They were the good old days. Now, maybe somebody who graduated in 95 says, God, back in 95, that's when Millville was a town. I don't know if they still do, but I think of those. I think of the way sports, the one picture, we'll talk about it later, has Bob and Krista in there. And Krista being the most athletic girl, Krista Meiswinkle. Today, I mean, girls' sports especially, so different, picking up that softball and firing it to first base. But there was no focus on that at the time.
Not at all.
So,
the girls' hockey team started when I was a junior.
Yeah.
So that was 68, 69.
Yeah.
68, 69.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Coach McCarthy?
No, it was just before she started.
Oh.
It was
Faye Wasser? Faye Campbell?
the other.
Oh, yeah. The other one.
No.
Yeah, I knew.
You know who I mean?
Yeah.
I forget her name.
Wasn't Mrs.
Wasser
McCandless?
Wasser was there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I forget who the other. But it was, and it might have been Wasser. Might have coached it. Yes.
Okay.
But it started in my junior year. There was no girls hockey team.
Yeah.
And if
How
you
about
think
that?
about the success that Millville had over the years with Claudia McCarthy.
Oh, absolutely.
It's amazing that it was only 55 years ago that, or more, that they started a hockey team for girls.
Again, in girls' sports again. And sports was, in high school, sports is a big deal. It's not as much of a big deal once you get out of high school, but in high school it is. And girls' basketball, they played 6-on-6. Mm-hmm. 2 defenders, 2 offensive players, and 2 girls went back and forth. And I can remember watching the Millville girls game there and so forth. So a lot changed in those early 70s. And again, I'm not saying things don't change all the time, but it just seemed pretty dramatic at that time. Music, from that, I don't know, maybe more of a Four Seasons thing in the 60s to more of a Jefferson Airplane in the 70s or something. I don't know. It just was a little bit more, a little different. The Beatles' music changed, the Rolling Stones, everything just changed at that era. And again, high school is such an important time in our lives, even though it's only 4 years. And we've been out 55 years.
It's 55.
Yeah, that's right. That's 55 years we've been out. So it's just a small chunk of time in there. Yeah. You think back 4 years ago, it's a blink of an eye. And sometimes, as we were in high school, it just seemed longer and longer and longer. So.
And if you go back to, I think, Jim's point about music, there's a lot of things that have happened over the years in your lives. A lot. People getting married, having children, getting divorced, having gone to college first. But the music, if you're sitting sometimes, I know this is my experience because I love my music. And if you're sitting sometimes and not noticing anything, and all of a sudden music, if you're streaming or you're listening, some people do still listen to the radio, or you are, anywhere that they're playing music, a song will come on, and regardless of whatever you're doing at the time, that song might have a meaning to you that takes you right back, whether you were a freshman, whether you're in junior high, or even when we were in grade school, the Beatles were just starting. Mm-hmm. So I can think back to 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade with Beatles and Rolling Stones music. But there is always a song that could come on and just takes you back, and you're just feeling it again. And you're feeling wherever you were. And all of us have some kind of remembrance of some major events in your life, or major national events or international events that you think about, and this is where I was when that happened. Mm-hmm. We can think back to when we were in grade school when President Kennedy was assassinated, and we were in 6th grade. Mm-hmm. And we can remember those events that happened that day when, we were told to go to the church and pray. But and even modern times, music, I think unifies people. And I think in high school it unified a lot of us. We might have different tastes in music, but boy, there was times when you had a dance and everybody just loved that dance. There's certain music that you remember Y dances or CYO dances. So we're going to try really hard. And with Stephen Jones being part of that whole music, chairmanship, right, we're hoping to have a nice variety. And Bob Morgan will do whatever we want.
Absolutely.
He will put together great set lists, so we can go from, the 4 tops that we remember from Y dances to, I'm not opposed to having a disco song here or there. People like to dance to that. So it's just about having a good time with the music. And like I said, it's a very major aspect of my life. And I developed a big taste in concerts, and I have a big variety of tastes in music. So. And we're going to respect anybody that comes up and makes a request.
Now, we had an attempt at a fundraiser in high school. I was not involved with the fundraiser, but Dr. Beebe was, and it involved country music, okay, which didn't go over that well at that point, if you remember.
It didn't.
So it might have been a fund loss as opposed to a fundraiser.
Well, we couldn't get Willie Nelson to come.
Right,
that was
right,
our downfall.
And that kind of thing. So there were differences in musical taste, but that music did change at that time. And when we were talking earlier, and Susan mentioned Woodbine, or we're talking about Marsh River Township, newspapers, another thing. 50 years ago, if we wanted to get word out to anybody, you probably would have started with the Millville Daily.
Absolutely.
And there are no.
It was the Millville Daily Republican.
Yeah. Yeah,
right.
And even with the all the communities in Marsh River Township and Commercial and Woodbine and Lawrence Township and so forth, in the Millville Daily, they would have a little blurb at least once a week about the news from Dorchester or
I remember
Heislerville,
that.
you know, and so forth. And it just the word would get out in a totally different way. Here, you know, now we're in a new age, and there are no newspapers to go to. I think it's kind of taken something away again. But speaking as an old man, that's
There are digital.
Yeah.
It's different than holding the newspaper in your hand.
Absolutely. Yep. Have to look for it. So, but yeah, different interests, different people, a different era, and not that I want to go back, but it's awful nice to talk about some of those things. Like I say, the neighborhood stores. Each, you know, there was George and Mary's in South Millville, you know, for subs and so forth. I don't know how long George and Mary's was around, but it was there through our high school years. It seemed like it. And in the Third Ward, there was Trops and O'Neill's and all these other
What
places.
was the one that was right near St. Mary's across the street?
Shannon's.
Shannon's, yeah.
Shannon's, yeah. Shannon's on Buck Street.
And they were all unique
All unique, that's right.
and all different.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Fiend's store out at 9th and
Yeah.
Pine. That was in walking distance from where I grew up. And my mother, I'm putting this, but we all of us from the class of 70 remember this. She would give me a quarter and go to Mr. Fiend's and get a 23-cent loaf of bread.
Yeah.
And with the 2 cents, I could spend on candy because there were penny candies back then.
You could get two for a penny, I think, at some point.
Sometimes you could. And if I went and Mr. Fiend was out of 23-cent bread, he would see the sad look on my face because the next step was a 25-cent bread.
You didn't get that 2 cents.
And he would know that.
Yeah.
And he would just go, here, take the 25-cent loaf and go pick yourself out maybe one candy or something. But it made me happy. And those were the neighborhood, you know, stores. And
Right.
you can't believe the price, obviously the prices today versus that, but we're living them. But those kind of memories are great. I've been to all but 2 reunions that this class has had. And I can tell you I've enjoyed each and every one of them. And I enjoy the fact that, you know, just as what Susan mentioned earlier, to be able to sit and talk with people and see what they have done virtually now the 55 years that we've been out. And, you know, where they are today, where they're living today, because obviously they may not be local, or they may be local. And it's amazing. One of the most amazing things to me is somebody will say, well, I've always lived at this address right here in Millville. And I'm going, well, I mean, I was away for school, but when I came back, I started my practice here, and I've lived here ever since. And maybe I've never really run into them because each person, I think, travels in cycles and circles, and sometimes they don't intertwine. And so it gives us a chance to come together. A reunion just means that. It's a reunion of memories, of thoughts, of just camaraderie, whether, you know, you were an athlete, a scholar, homemaker, you know,
No, I was not
whatever club. No, I meant with the homemakers
Oh, right,
Future
exactly.
Homemakers of
Okay.
America. Whether you were involved at all in school. In
Other
fact,
various clubs and
right.
organizations.
In fact, I remember we mentioned him during the first segment, Jerry Gilbert. Jerry wasn't involved with anything. And now, you know, the years I got to know him through the reunion, really, I got to know him. I couldn't shut him up.
That's right.
But it was great getting to know him
Yeah.
and what he has accomplished and what he has done with his life. And it was just, you know, he was just a marvelous person. And I look back and say, maybe I missed an opportunity of maybe knowing
That's a
him.
good. I think that's a great point, Jim. You know, because I didn't really know Jerry very well. I didn't find out till later that my niece was actually best friends with his, I think, niece, Jessica. And he ended up realizing that at, I think, 2 reunions ago, and we talked about that. And he was so happy to be of assistance to anyone. And, it's sad to not have him around for this, but I know he totally enjoyed all the reunions that he attended. And the one point I want to make, too, about reconnecting, it's interesting. There are times when you haven't seen someone for a long time, and when you reconnect, it's, wow, you missed opportunity maybe for years that for some reason you weren't able to, communicate with the person, they moved away or whatever. But when you do, it's like, this is just so great because I have someone else in my life that I have something in common with going to school, but I've also learned a lot about that person when I've reconnected. I happened to reconnect with Stephanie Beck, not because of reunions, but because I happened to buy a condo in Ocean City in 2010, and just so happened, Stephanie was living 3 blocks away, and that's where she had lived for over 30 years. And she reached out to me, and, we've been able to stay in contact. We go to the beach once in a while. We've gone to dinner, had some wine. And then on top of it, Jim Ney lives in Ocean City. But I had seen him over the years. But in reality, here I am buying a condo in Ocean City. I hadn't lived in the area in my life for over 30 years in Cumberland County. And I end up with 2 classmates in the same town, but not Millville. So it's great to reminisce and reconnect with that reminiscing, but what I have found really satisfying is one of the things we've talked about is finding the person they are today and having great conversations.
With when you mentioned Stephanie too, it's several of our class members went on to teach in Millville and at Millville High School. I know, and correct me, I know Bruce Smith, who I still see pretty much weekly. I'll see Bruce. Taught at Millville High. Steve Horn taught at Millville High. Denise Arrigo, who, I thought no, but Denise.
I'm her body double.
That's right. Susan's the body double. Denise taught at Millville. Patty Weststein. I don't know if Jack taught. Weststein taught at the high school also. I think he might have been Fifth and Broad, but either way, Jack and
Stephanie Beck.
Stephanie Beck. I'm leaving. Kathy Barry Nieder.
And I just got a response. Kathy Barry Nieder is coming.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So there's probably several others who did come back to Millville, and some of them, missed quite a few of the reunions over the years, but then picked up at the last one or whatever, and really enjoyed it, and are coming back.
A good story about Charlie Brockhorn.
Well, before we do that, I think we're going to take a short break.
Okay.
And then we'll be back very, very quickly.
All right.
Stay tuned.
The most important decisions a family can make are usually made around the kitchen table. At DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, we believe pre-planning and the difficult decisions you face with the loss of a loved one should also be made around the comfort of a table, like a family. Our friendly, kind, and compassionate staff is committed to helping you get through this most difficult time. In your time of need, trust DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, Vineland.
Imagine living without pain. For over 35 years, Doctors Beebe and Doyle have helped thousands of people find relief from all types of pain. Millville Chiropractic Center has 4 doctors on staff specializing in hands-on or light-touch, drug-free pain relief methods. The examination, x-rays, therapies, and adjustments are all performed at one location. Schedule a consultation today. Enjoy life without pain and discomfort. Millville Chiropractic Center, the area's #1 pain relief center.
Hello, my name is Craig Atkinson, and I am president of the Millville Thunderbolt Club. The mission of the Thunderbolt Club is to enhance the athletic experience of Millville High School student athletes. We provide a myriad of services for these athletes, including end-of-year recognition banquets for all teams, stipends for teams and individual athletes, college scholarships of $35,000 per year, meals for special events, as well as hosting the Mike Trout Millville Thunderbolt Club Golf Tournament and the Millville Sports Hall of Fame. Please visit our website at millvillethunderboltclub.com for additional information.
Many people treat their health like a game. With the Complete Care Health Network, it's easy to start your healthcare journey. Our mental health services focus on the emotions and behaviors that affect your overall well-being and features psychiatric, counseling, and addiction services, including our exclusive Fresh Start program, designed to help combat the opioid epidemic in our communities, plus all the other specialties you expect from Complete Care. Level up your health with us. The Complete Care Health Network. No games, just great healthcare for everyone.
Hi, welcome back. This is Dr. Jim Beebe. I'm glad to see everybody staying with us because we have some more exciting stories coming up. And I'm here with Jim Nay and our chair lady, or rather, for the reunion, Susan Luongo, and she has a story she would like to share with you right now.
Well, we're talking about people coming in back from distance where, people have moved away. I left Millville in the 80s, and I haven't returned as a resident, but I was back here a lot for my family. But in this case, there was we talk about people coming from distance when they come to reunions, and the last one was quite interesting. I think it was the last one. Charlie Bachorn, drove from Kansas. I believe it was a straight drive all the way to Millville to show up on the Friday night casual night, and he showed up just about towards the end. A lot of people had already left, and ended up being a really fun hour, 2 hours that he stayed while we cleaned up. Mm-hmm. And he did come to the next night to the Savoy, but that is dedication. As far as I could see, coming back to Millville to get to the reunion. And I know there have been people over the years that have come from distance. I know that Neil Robinson comes from Connecticut. I don't think he's missed a reunion from what I can remember.
I would agree.
Yeah, so he drives down from Connecticut, and we've had quite a few Pennsylvania drivers. Oh, the last reunion, this was another interesting, Margaret Mary McDonough, who now lives on the eastern shore of Maryland, and she's a doctor. She has missed a couple reunions, and she really wanted to come last time, but she couldn't stay for the overnight. And she actually drove up from the eastern shore, came to the Savoy, to the reunion, and then turned around and drove back. So, and I would say that's a good 2.5 hour, 3 hour drive.
Yeah.
And not a great drive to the Eastern Shore. But that's just an example of some people who were committed to really coming back to seeing former classmates or some particular people. I mean, there are people that come and I really want to see this person. They have people that they haven't connected with, and they've really said, I want to see this person. And so, whether you're near or far, again, I'll just remind everyone, if they're a little distance, Betty has reserved rooms at Fairfield Inn, which is right at Route 55, near Route 55. And so if you want to stay there, if you have family, or if you can just come and stay a couple hours and you have to leave, that's fine. I think that would be just great to see all of our classmates again.
And when you mentioned Charlie Bachorn, he always, another woodbiner, okay, who was with him, Santos. Santos. Mm-hmm. He comes to most, and you had said Santos has moved out of the area, but hopefully,
he'll come back.
He'll be back, mm-hmm. And Santos too. Again, everybody knew Santos, just one of the nicest people you would.
He's in my homeroom.
Yeah, and so forth. Most people know him as a runner, okay, cross country and track, but he also wrestled his senior year, and he was a good athlete. And again, in that era, sports was a big thing, especially with boys, but with the school in general. I mean, in one of the pictures, which is probably shown already, I don't know if I missed it, but there it is, Bob and Krista. I mean, Bob Abbott, I don't know if he gets the credit maybe he deserved as far as I know he's in the Thunderbolt Hall of Fame and so forth, but he was one of the top level performer in 3 major sports. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, football, basketball, and baseball, which were king at the time. I mean, and even if you look around the county at that time, Vineland, Bridgeton, Sacred Heart, schools like that, I don't know if you had anybody who would perform at that at that level in those three sports. We had great athletes. I mean, again, people who mentioned Neil and Jim Stites would tell me a story. And Jim Stites, of course, has passed on, but he would tell me a story about Mike Mitchell in sports, and said something that, like, Mike would have been like an all-county shot putter or discus thrower, whatever. Mike did that in the field events. Had Stites not been there, because just about every meet where Stites finished first, Mike finished second, and he just didn't get the attention. And guys like Bruce Trout and Barry Fisher, and just so many that did like 2 or 3 sports and were real good. Some hadn't. Bobby Hawes, our old buddy. I mean, nobody was just more of a. Again, it's one of the nicest people in the world, but a hard-nosed like football player, and also a great hunter, as you were too in your day, and so forth. I shouldn't say in your day. back when Daltons had their old school,
yes,
right?
we remember that.
Yeah. So, but I mean, the sporting thing, it was just a different era, and it's a shame as you look back with girls, and the sports just didn't have the same focus, the same level of interest. But when you mentioned Charlie, he was also he was the good skier as well, right?
Yes.
And you had guys. I mean, another great athlete who had all the tools, and like I mentioned, Barry Fisher, and Barry was also a great bowler.
Oh,
At
yeah.
the time. I mean, nobody really paid attention to bowling, maybe, but one of those, as well as a football player and track and baseball and so forth. So sports was a big, big thing. There are a lot of other things. I don't know if as much emphasis was placed then on the arts as it is today. I mean, kids who were involved in the arts. I remember the Fantastics.
Yeah.
Was the play, I think, right? And Peggy Peasy and so forth. I keep thinking she was in the play. I can't remember who.
Okay, it was. I
Yeah.
believe I remember people who were in that was Denise Finch.
Yeah.
Joan Hart was part of the arts section. I know Peggy was. I'm trying to remember some of the others. I'd have to go back and look at the yearbook, but I do remember them being as pretty central to it the whole time we were in high school.
Yeah, and music. I mean, well, one other play. I can't even remember what it was. Our freshman year, you were in the stage crew. You and Bobby Hawes were in the stage crew, and Steve Clark was one of the stars of that play. And it was somebody about a guy from Venus or something like that, but I I can't remember what it was. Do you remember that at all?
I
you're in
remember
the stage
working
crew,
the
so
spotlight.
that's right. Because it was usually off from where it should be.
And I think when Steve was supposed to come out on the right side of the stage, we had it on the left.
Yeah. So
Stage left.
I just don't know. Today it seems like, at least my experience with my own kids and so forth in schools, the arts get a bit more focus and a bit more attention. And
I think that it's spreading the wealth of your high school experience.
Yeah.
Because not everyone can be an athlete.
Yeah.
But there's a contribution they can make while they're in high school, whether it's through an academic club or it's through the arts, like you talk about. Music can be a big aspect of your high school years. You don't have to necessarily be in the band, but there's choir, there's choral groups, there's all kinds. I remember music being pretty important through the band, more so than almost anything else when we were in high school.
Yeah, I keep thinking Norm Frankel was there. George Zellers was a great piano player. I don't know if he continued with it or not, but in high school, piano was his thing, and many others in the different. Leslie Reitman was in a couple of shows.
She was also part of the theater group.
Yeah,
you're right.
Those kind of things, just different ones that come up. So yeah, all kinds of different interests.
And one of our past teachers or instructors, of course, who had a lot to do with some of the plays, was Mr. Jack Lee.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Lee, yeah.
And my favorite story about Mr. Lee, and he said to the whole class one day, he said, the athletes think that I hate the athletes and love the scholar kids in the class. And he said the scholar kids think I hate the scholar kids and I like the athletes. And so he did that real quiet. And of course, me with I was never shy. I said, well, which is it? He says, I don't like any of them. That was his quote. And later on, after I came back and started to practice chiropractic here in Millville, Mr. Lee came in and was a great patient of mine for many, many years. And I reminded him of that story, and he said, "I remember it well," because he must have told it quite a bit. So he enjoyed that. But it's memories like this that we're talking about, the three of us up here, and you're listening to, that hopefully stimulates you to say, "Hey, maybe I want to come out and have some of those memories and do some of the socialization with." Catching up, I guess, is the real word that we want to talk about. We're going to catch up with everybody and just have a great time. So August 9th, okay, please put it in your calendar, and the numbers will be on your screen here. Get a hold of Susan, get signed up, get paid up. Come on out, because we're going to have a great time then. And we'll be back in just a little bit.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born right here in America. With more than 41 years of service to our valued customers, Advanced Treads in Norman, New Jersey is South Jersey's full-service distributor of General Tires. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tires, anywhere is possible. Advanced Treads, 1325 West Landis Avenue in Norman, New Jersey. Call them today at 856-696-5004.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
Imagine living without pain. For over 35 years, doctors Beebe and Doyle have helped thousands of people find relief from all types of pain. Millville Chiropractic Center has 4 doctors on staff specializing in hands-on or light-touch, drug-free pain relief methods. The examination, x-rays, therapies, and adjustments are all performed at one location. Schedule a consultation today. Enjoy life without pain and discomfort. Millville Chiropractic Center, the area's #1 pain relief center.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jim Beebe. Thanks for coming back and listening to some more of our memorabilia from 1970s. And, I'll brag a little bit and say probably the greatest class that graduated from Millville High School. And since nobody's going to argue with me here at the table, we'll go from there. And we're just talking about some of the old stories, and we know that you have some stories too. So come on, make sure you make it out on August 9th. So, Jim?
There's a great song by the Statler Brothers called The Class of 57. I don't know if anybody's ever heard it, and I won't get into it, but go online, listen to The Class of 57 by the Statler Brothers. It's just a cute little ditty about a small town high school graduating class and so forth. So.
But Steve Jones from our class probably knows all the words to every song that was ever written.
Oh yeah,
and he'll be there.
There's a couple that are real that I know. I mean, I'm sure there are many kids that I don't know how they were into music, but S was real big in music, and again the Motown sound and so forth. Back then, but if you look at guys like Bob Connor and so forth, I mean, his music playlist and they talk about eclectic. I mean, everything, and he knows it too. And I still see Bob a lot around town, as you guys do. And he's another guy. I remember mentioning this the last time we did a show with Jim. I mean, you do so much for the community and always have, and so does Bob. And again, guys like Rick Abbott and so forth contribute, and so the old Millville group that are still here doing business and so forth. So it's good. But you were mentioning like old teachers. You mentioned Jack Lee. I don't know how many of our teachers are still with us. I mean, some are, I know. But, many, I mean, Tony Sayres, Ed Salmon is still around and looking great, by the way. I'm not sure who else would still be
I'm trying to remember.
Some of them were only a couple years older than we were. I mean, if we were 18, they were 22.
Yeah.
That's right.
Ron Vinnick just died not long ago, and Ron was my cross-country coach and a good guy. I can't think of too many offhand.
And some of them that we might have had aren't around the area anymore. In addition to
right.
that,
Sure.
Yeah.
One of the teachers I remember who I absolutely loved, who unfortunately did pass away, was Chuck Mall, and I had him as a history teacher in my senior year. What a time to have current events as part of, because I remember your senior year, it was mostly dedicated to what was going on in the world, and he was so inspiring. He would just let the class. He'd talk about a subject and say, let it go, and just have the class talk. And he was a young teacher. I mean, I think he might have started teaching the year before.
That's correct. Yep.
And it's one of those teachers that I had throughout all of my educational years that I really loved him because he was able to just let people express themselves. And that was the kind of subject at the time. And there was a lot of controversy going on, and people had different opinions. I don't think it was quite as divided then. But and another one I'll remember, and I think she's still around, is Rose Showell. And I had her for a couple of my business classes. And I loved her. She was just a wonderful, fair, kind teacher. And, you never felt humiliated by something if you didn't feel like you were doing something right. She was just a very encouraging person, too. And she was a fairly young teacher at that point. I know she was married and had a child, but, we had some really old teachers at the time. We had Everett Key. So if you were on the yearbook committee, if you were on the yearbook committee, Mr. Key was your advisor. All right, it didn't matter. He was and he was another very soft-spoken, very low-key kind of guy, who also taught French. But we got through the yearbook with him, and he sort of let us do what we wanted. As I remember, he let Alex Anton take as many pictures as he wanted for the yearbook, and a lot of them were candid and cool pictures that got into the yearbook. And I think Alex has some pictures. He brought some to the last reunion and sort of spread it out on a table, and everybody got a chance to look at some of his proofs and things that he had left that were never used. And he is coming. He already contacted me. He is coming.
Yeah. That's great.
And our principal, Mike Palermo, and at the time he was probably he was probably only in his mid to late 40s. He had come to Millville after World War II in school and so forth, and seemed so much older in different ways. Don Easter, and so forth, one of the vice principals. It was
which he was in charge of discipline. You knew him very well.
It was so good, and I can think of teachers spend such a small part, are in such a small part of our life when you do the math. There's just not that many, but they're such a major influence, and the memories. Whether you're talking the Myerses, both Mr. Myers down there, you talking Howard Barnes, I'm so fat-headed Lutely. That was his thing. How he and the Duke won World War II, and Spanish teacher, and Terry Astle, who had passed on young, as a matter of fact. Both of them are
the Munzers.
The Munzers, that's right. I can remember when we were talking about Jack Lee. I never had Mr. Lee in class, but I know the 4 English teachers I had. Neil Van Gilder as a freshman, in 9th grade. And then Jerry Ray Avis. Jerry Ray, I can't remember her last name, but it was Artie Avis' sister. There's another great athlete, Artie Avis.
Oh, yeah.
But he did things that weren't necessarily the high school thing. He was a gymnast and a muscle builder and so forth.
And a golfer.
And a golfer, outstanding golfer. Mrs. Sykes, I had Mrs. Sykes, who I met many years later when my kids were at Middle Township High School in Cape May Courthouse. She was retired from Middle Township and had taught French down there, and was subbing again as a retired teacher. And then Phillips McQuillan was my English teacher senior year. But those, and math, Doug Evans was there, and Doug's passed on, and so forth. And he was very young. Again, Ron Shea and so forth. These that I had.
He's still around, isn't he?
I don't think he's in Millville.
He's not?
I'm not sure if he's with us or not.
I don't think so.
It's tough to say. Bob Hogan, who passed on a few years ago, and so forth. were there.
Great guy.
Yeah, we had good. He threatened to throw me off the team one time, and he didn't.
As he should have. As he should have.
But then we became friends later on in life. I used to see him when I worked in Violin. So, yeah, I don't know, guys. It's just I always have a good time at the reunion, seeing people and so forth. And hopefully, I know even at our virtual reunion before the last one, and Ken Busby was on there. And I think again, maybe I think too much about high school sports tonight. I usually don't, but Ken was a great runner and went on to be a really good tennis player at Cumberland County College, so forth. But it's just a good time at the reunions. I always enjoy it.
Totally agree. I think that if you come, we will make it happen. There's just no question about it. We are dedicated to making sure everybody has an enjoyable time. And like I said earlier, I truly believe music unites people, makes them feel fantastic. And I know that Steve's going to do a great job getting as much in of his set list favorites. But again, I'd like to make sure everybody has, a request. It'll be easy. Like I said, Bob Morgan has been I've been to 2 events with him, and he's a terrific DJ. And I know you're going to have a great time with the photo booth. I have a booklet. I have an album that was from the last reunion, and it has pictures of people. So they did 2 copies. They gave one to you personally from the group in the photo booth, and then they would give you another one, and they put it in a book, a scrapbook, and then the person, whoever was in the picture, was writing their notes on it, whether it's, hey, great class of 70, and what is, I think, it's a little melancholy. There are people that have passed away that wrote in the book and have those pictures.
Yeah. I just mentioned 2 other, and again, I don't want to speak out to her, but just when I hear the names, Bob Sharp recently passed away, Dave Hewlett,
Yes.
These guys. And that's the thing I guess maybe I think about too, is missing some of those old guys that,
And Bob, I know, always came to reunions.
Yeah.
Always.
He did. That's right. And I would see Bob. He worked for the phone company for years, and Cape May County. And my work, we'd be out at night or on weekends and so forth, and run across each other, and so forth. But yeah, just a good time. And you mentioned Glenn Ewan earlier too, and Glenn is now and has been for most of his adult life a Marsh River Township guy.
Right.
But he's there all the time on the committee, and I don't know if he's involved with this
I haven't talked to him, but there was back and forth with phone calls, and he did such a great job on that in memoriam. It was just amazing how he did it, and how he and Jerry worked so well together to put it together. So, yeah, he worked real hard the last time. Again, haven't been able to contact him, but right now we're hoping he's going to be part of this.
So let's repeat this all over again. Hopefully we've stimulated your interest. August 9th, right here in Millville on 8th Street at the Thunderbolt Club. We're going to have our 55th reunion, 6 o'clock till 10 o'clock that evening. The phone number's on the screen, but 609-320-9012. $35 per person, includes a group photo or a classmate photo. And we're going to have great food. We're going to from Bolt Catering. We're going to have Bob Morgan, as we mentioned, be DJing and playing all kinds of music, but especially our era music to get us back in the mood. And I think all that is great. And we need your help reaching out to all other class members. So if you know somebody from the class, and you can call and tell somebody, or text them, or email them, let them know. We're here, we're going to have a great time. And we've talked about a lot of our class members who have passed. They never die when we talk about their memories. And that's what we want to honor them also that night, and make new memories for our 60th reunion, which will be coming again in 5 years. So I want to thank Jim Ney for being here and drove all the way up from Ocean City. Susan Luongo came from Ocean City. I'm the outcast because I came up from Seattle today.
We should have done this in Ocean City.
Yeah, we should have. We should
On the
have
beach.
down there.
We could have done a beach broadcast.
But I was working today. I actually wasn't in Ocean City.
Oh,
I came from
okay.
the other direction.
Okay.
so.
Well, we like to be full transparency
Right.
here.
Okay.
That's right.
And we also obviously want to thank Jim Quinn for his expertise and his kindness to let us tape this presentation. And we can, he's just an asset to this whole town that we just don't know. I caught him up and said, I need some help. And he said, yeah, why don't you come in and do a show? And he'll be playing it quite often between now and August 9th. So please, if you get the message, come on out. We're going to have a lot of time, a lot of laughs. We had some laughs here today. We're going to have a whole bunch more, on August 9th, Saturday at the Thunderbolt Club. So please, once again, call the number that's on the screen. Come on out, and tell as many class members as we can. The greatest class that ever was, class of 1970. And I'm sure I'm going to hear some feedback from that. But class of 1970 from Millville High School.
Hey, when you
Appreciate
end with an even decade, with a 70 or a 50 or a 60, it's much easier to figure out how many years you've been out of high school.
Yeah, we don't have to be mathematicians.
No.
Like another staff member we should have mentioned too was Bob Riley.
Bob Riley, yeah.
And great teacher and a good instructor. So, and thank you, George,
Yes.
for helping us out with this.
Thanks,
we appreciate
George.
you. Thank you.
Okay.
This has been a QBC television production, in association with our partners and sponsors. QBC broadcasts on Comcast Cable Channel 22, and live streams its programming on Facebook and YouTube. All rights reserved by Quinn Media and QBC, programming that serves the South Jersey market.